It is October, and I realize I have not shared my story of how I found out that I had stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer. And I feel like it's important because I want people to know how important it is to get diagnosed as soon as possible. I know that it's easy to be afraid or to make excuses, like if you don't, like me, I didn't have insurance, so you put things off or you don't want to know. But being diagnosed early is the best thing you can do for yourself, because once it gets to your organs, it is extremely difficult to overcome that. That's when it's always serious, but it gets very dangerous and very, very much on the verge of, I hate to say the words like that, to this day it's still hard to say it, but I mean, it's the truth of the matter. If you're diagnosed stage 4, your chances of survival are diminished significantly. So I implore you to get tested if you notice a lump, because when you get it diagnosed before stage 4, before it reaches any other organs, you have about a 95 to 98% survival rate, versus my case, I had a 22% survival rate. That's a huge difference. So here's my story. It was May of 2022. I was breastfeeding my then 23-month-old, and I found a lump. But I thought it was just another milk duct that was clogged. I had dealt with several, so I was like, oh, no big deal. Well, it continued, it persisted. But I didn't get it checked because of the fact I didn't have insurance. I figured it'll pass, it'll fix itself, it's whatever. I had been laid off of work, I'd lost my insurance, my husband had just started his own business, and we were like, we'll get insurance later on down the line. We were both extremely healthy, never sick, never any issues, so we were just gonna wait. Here I have this lump. I think it's like a lump from breastfeeding. I'd had so many, and then it just got bigger. And so comes June, and I'm like, I think this might be something more serious. So I contacted Dr. Google, and I was convinced that I had what is called a milk cyst or galactocele. And so I put off going to the doctor even longer. Finally in July, I just told my husband, like, I'm really scared. Like, this thing seems like it's getting bigger and it hurts. I was in pain. And so he was like, listen, for peace of mind, like, let's just go to the doctor. Like, it'll be okay. We'll pay out of pocket. Let's just do it. I went to the doctor. My doctor thought it's a milk cyst. He's like, but just to be sure, let's do a diagnostic mammogram with an ultrasound. So I'm like, that is such a waste of time and money. That is going to cost so much money. But I went ahead and did it. But that was another couple of weeks later. I was diagnosed 3 months after finding a lump in August of 2022 at my mammogram. They said this is definitely a type of cancer. 2 weeks later, I was able to get my biopsy done, and it was diagnosed as HER2 positive, ERPR negative, which means that the receptors on it are estrogen and progesterone negative. Then came the process of contacting an oncologist, getting insurance. It was an absolute nightmare, but God was with me. But my biggest fear, my concern, my worry was that it had already progressed to my organs, and they were like, we don't think it has. It probably hasn't. But they found out, my oncologist found out it was inflammatory breast cancer. And then within a week of having my oncologist and getting all my scans done, it was determined that it had almost covered my liver. So I had progressed to stage 4. I was never diagnosed with any other staging other than stage 4. I made the mistake of looking up Google again to see what it could tell me about IBC stage 4, and the prognosis was a survival rate of 22 months. 22 months was what I was given by Dr. Google. Now, I am no evidence of active disease, which is a type of remission. They've been able to scan my entire body, have not found any traces of cancer, and I've been at that status for about almost a year in November. So I have made it 29 months. 22 months was what I was given, and I'm at 29 months. But the thing about inflammatory breast cancer at stage 4 is that I will always be looking over my shoulder. I will always, every lump, every pain, every little twinge, I will always be wondering, has it returned? Am I no longer any AD? This is something that I will live with forever. I will most likely be in treatment for the rest of my life. And that's just a fact. And while I will continue to say Jesus has healed me of breast cancer, because he has, I'm a human being. I live in this fallen world, and I trust God that he's healed me, but I also know that sometimes cancer comes back. And I pray that that's not my story, that my testimony is that I will forever be healed, but I also know the world that we live in. And I always I just want to be like, people say, oh, that's not realistic, God didn't heal you like science did. Like, science didn't do... God used science, yes. And I will give props where props are due. But I trust God. I trust Jesus, and no matter what happens, he's got me in the palm of his hand. But this lesson, there's not a thing I would take back. God has shown me something, and he's changed. He made me stop being a lukewarm Christian through this process. He's shown me how to stay faithful to him, even when it looked like the worst case scenario. He taught me to be loyal to him, even when things aren't going my way. So what I hope that I have shared will inspire you to check yourself, do regular breast exams, and if you feel a lump, instead of telling yourself it's fine, ignoring it, being too scared to get it checked, or be overly concerned about money and not having the means to pay for it, they will help you to pay for it. They will accommodate you. It's so important to just get checked. Don't be scared of what the result will be. If you turn to Christ, then whatever happens, he will be with you, whether it's good or whether it's not so good. But be swift in going, because the time is half the battle. That give them the time to give you your best shot. You might not have anything wrong. It could be a cyst if you have a lump. It could be nothing. But don't live on that hope. Instead, get it checked out. And if it turns out to not be nothing, you get ahead of it as quickly as possible before it becomes stage 4. That's all I got. And that's my story. That's how I found out that I had stage 4 inflammatory breast cancer.